Hello and welcome, I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching World of Sport on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories of the hour. Michael Carrick has emerged as the favourite to be appointed as Manchester United caretaker head coach, according to sources close to the process. Club chiefs are hoping to have an appointment in place when players return to training on Wednesday. Former Wimbledon finalist Milos Raonic has announced his retirement from tennis. Talking to X, Raonic announced that he has been the luckiest person to live out his dreams. Raonic played his last match at the 2024 Olympics, losing in the first round to Germany's Dominik Koyepa. Barcelona edged past Real Madrid in a 5-goal thriller to win back-to-back Spanish Super Cup finals in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It marked a 16th triumph in the tournament for Hansi Flick's side, with Barcelona also beating Los Blancos in last year's final. Britain's Dalton Smith announced himself on the global stage with a coming-of-age stoppage of Subriel Matias to claim the WBC light welterweight world title in New York. On the back of a 93-run inning from Virat Kohli, India has packed up a 4-wicket victory over New Zealand in the first of the three-match ODI series at the BCAA Stadium in Vadodara. India takes a 1-0 lead in the series. India has taken a 1-0 lead in their three-match ODI series against New Zealand after a thrilling 4-wicket victory in the first game at the BCA Stadium in Kotambi, Vanadara on Sunday. New Zealand batted first after Indian skipper Shubman Gill won the toss and chose to bowl. The visitors got off to a strong start with Daryl Mitchell, Devon Conway and Henry Nicholls all scoring half-centuries to build a competitive total. Their efforts helped New Zealand post a challenging score, putting India under pressure early in the chase. The Indian bowling attack responded well with Mohammad Siraj, Pradij Krishna and Harshit Rana each taking 2 wickets. Their breakthroughs ensured that New Zealand could not capitalise fully on their strong starts, restricting the total to a target India felt confident in chasing. In reply, India's batting lineup was steady but required a standout performance, and Virat Kohli delivered. His 93-run innings was built with patience and aggression, combining crisp dives with smart running between wickets. Kohli received support from the middle order to guide India home, securing a tense 4-wicket victory and giving the hosts a valuable first win advantage in the series. Joining us now is Anubha Anandita, the editor of the Sports Cafe in India, in Noida. Thank you very much for joining us. Virat Kohli was in fine touch with an unbeaten 93 to anchor India's win, proving once and for all why people call him a master of run chases. What kind of legacy will he leave when he finally does call a time on his career?
He will be remembered as one of the greatest cricketers and finishers in cricket history because he has set a benchmark of consistency and temperament and playing match-winning knocks under pressure. So I'm pretty sure that he is going to be remembered as one of the greatest cricketers and players of the game.
And while it was a batter's day out in Vadodara, who would you pick as the bowler of the night?
Without any doubt, it's Kyle Jamieson because he picked up 4 wickets in the match, and only gave off 40 runs in his 10 overs. So it's definitely going to be him.
And New Zealand made a fantastic start to the game when put in to bat first, but their effort was visibly fizzled out. What are the changes that the Kiwis could be looking for as they plot their comeback?
There are some areas that New Zealand need to work on. In my opinion, I feel they need to strengthen their middle order because even in the first ODI, Conway and Henry Nicholas and Daryl Mitchell, except of these three, nobody else could play a better knock, and nobody scored more than 30 runs. So I feel, middle order. They need to strengthen their middle order and definitely need to work on their debt over battings.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do stay with us. We now move on to our next story. And the magic of the FA Cup was on full display in England over the weekend. Defending champions Crystal Palace were eliminated by non-league side Macclesfield by a score of 2-1. A disciplined display from the Macs marked the first time in 114 years that a non-league side knocked out the reigning champion of the FA Cup. Manchester City had a strong display against Exeter with debutants Antony Semenko, Ryan Mack, Adu and Rico Lewis all scoring in a 10-1 rout of the League One side. Exeter managed a consolidation goal from George Birch, but City controlled the game and showcased their incredible depth of talent. Manchester United continue to face challenges under interim manager Darren Fletcher, crashing out of the FA Cup after a 2-1 defeat to Premier League opposition in Brighton and Hove Albion. The Seagulls found joy as former United striker Danny Welbeck rolled back the years with a clinical finish to dump the Red Devils out of the competition. Leeds United also go through thanks to goals from Wilfried Ginono, Japan's Ayo Kanata and James Justin, running out 3-1 winners against Championship side Derby County. Arsenal completed a comfortable 4-1 win at Portsmouth thanks to Gabriel Martinelli's hat-trick. Kai Havertz returned after 150 days out, and Ethan Nwaneri contributed strongly from the bench as the Gunners progressed to the fourth round. At Chelsea, new head coach Liam Rosenoir promoted a more adventurous attacking style. Joel Hato scored his first goal for the club since his £40 million move to London from Ajax. Chelsea took 30 shots and displayed greater freedom in possession compared to recent games, with Rosenoir emphasising incision over control. Aston Villa continued their fine run of form, besting Premier League opponents Tottenham Hotspur. Argentine Virtuoso Emiliano Buendia ran the show for the Villains as they ran out 2-1 winners thanks to goals from Buendia and Morgan Rogers. 2 games remain to be played at this point in the third round, with Liverpool taking Barnsley and a League 2 clash between Swindon Town and Salford City FC. We're now joined by Prad Yumna Tembekar, an Indian ambassador to the FIFA World Cup. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. Of course, the big result of this weekend is a shock defeat of the defending FA Cup champions, Crystal Palace. After a bright start to the season, does it look like the wheels are coming off the Palace wagon now, or do you think they have enough in the tank to finish in the European positions this season?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me here.
Pleasure.
And little bit sad for the Crystal Palace fans as they would not continue singing the chant with Dean Henderson with the famous Shakira song. But yes, reigning FA Cup champions losing out to a non-league opposition looked like a bit of an overconfident approach given the run that they had in the Premier League so far. Just goes on to show that whether you are a champion team or somebody who's struggling to get along the ranks, FA Cup gives you a very fair competition and platform to showcase what your talent or hard work is actually made of. So this is a pure example of what happens if you lose focus when you're at the top, and what happens when you capitalize on the chances when you don't have any odds placed in your favor. So pretty great example here. Had Crystal Palace balanced their overall approach in the game, not being that complacent, I guess they could have seen Macclesfield through, but it doesn't look like it would shake up Crystal Palace's performance run through, because the South London side just looks very confident enough to re-enter European football.
And what are your views on what's going down at Chelsea as the Rose Noir era has got underway on a very positive note?
Well, Rosinier looks like he does know what he is doing, as he correctly mentioned in his press conference. He is good at what he does, and as a Chelsea fan myself, I just hope he does a better job than what he has done in Strasbourg, as well as his coaching days in Brighton as well. So, given the record he's had so far, given the relationship he's had with the players, he's made it pretty straightforward, saying that he's not here to maintain a good rapport or something of that sort. He's there to get his job because he's good at what he does. So that was a good statement from Liam on the touchline as well. But let's give it some time to see what exactly his system is all about, and make sure that the young coach gets the right amount of exposure first at Stamford Bridge and then along the lines in the Premier League. Mind you, Charlton, yes, good, decent opposition, I will say, but FA Cup, yes, a decent platform that he's received. Premier League is going to be a good test, especially when the top 6 teams start knocking on the doors of West London.
Indeed, and Manchester United are in another side in flux. Having fired manager Ruben Amorim last week, more trouble inbound for the Red Devils, or can the right appointee to the dugout turn their season around?
Well, with Manchester United's troubles, as a Chelsea fan myself, I should probably enjoy the whole saga that's going on there, because more than player incomings or exits, it's coaches who are exiting and entering this January transfer market. But with Amorim's exit, yes, there is one message that goes clear out, that if you are speaking out loud in press conferences or in media houses, you better be diplomatic, otherwise you know what has happened. With both Enzo Maresca and Ruben Amorim as well. So a transition was needed, and I kind of resonate with what Sir Alex Ferguson mentioned in one of his interviews, that you need to have a DNA of maintaining that legacy around, or when you're building something, or even I guess it was Gary Neville or some ex-Manchester United player who mentioned it again, or shared this anecdote again. So it's probably the time where they tried to look out for the hierarchy that was passed on from Sir Alex to recreate what was once a theatre of dreams. So if they want to have that winning culture back, hoping for Fletcher to balance things around. But if they're looking for long term, let's make sure that the club finds the right amount of winning combination that is required, be it the backroom staff or the playing 11.
Yeah, indeed. Do stay with us as we move on to our next story. We move over to the African continent, and Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco and Senegal have sealed their places in the semi-finals of the CAF African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 during their quarter-final victories. Egypt edged Ivory Coast 3-2, knocking out the defending champions in a pulsating contest and sealing their place in the semi-finals. It was a night of composure, belief and fine margins, as the Pharaohs once again showed why they are Africa's most successful nation, holding their nerve against an Ivorian side that fought until the very last moment in defence of their crown. With that result, the semi-final lineup is now confirmed. Egypt will face Senegal on Wednesday, renewing a heavyweight rivalry, while hosts Morocco take on Nigeria in what promises to be another blockbuster encounter under the Moroccan lights. The Super Eagles of Nigeria secured their place after defeating Algeria 2-0 in the quarter-final match in Marrakesh. After a tense and evenly balanced contest for long periods, the Super Eagles found their breakthrough through Victor Osimhen, whose decisive finish rewarded Nigeria's growing dominance and attacking intent. As Algeria pushed forward in search of an equaliser, Nigeria remained disciplined and ruthless on the counter. sealing the result late on through Akor Adams, whose goal extinguished any remaining hopes of an Algerian comeback. With this win, Nigeria advanced to the semi-finals, where a mouth-watering clash awaits against hosts Morocco, setting up a blockbuster encounter between two of Africa's footballing heavyweights. The remaining quarter-final match of the competition was played on Saturday night, with Egypt joining Nigeria, Senegal and Morocco in the last four of the Africa's flagship football event. Senegal secured their place in the semi-finals after edging past Mali 1-0 in a tense West African derby. The decisive moment came in the first half when Ilman Nadai struck clinically to give the Lions of Teranga a lead they would protect with composure and authority. Morocco also eased into the semi-finals with a commanding 2-0 victory over Cameroon that sealed their place in the last four. Goals by Brahim Diaz and Ismail Sayabari were enough to help the host nation to advance and keep alive their hopes of winning the title at home. The semi-finals of AFCON 2025 will be played on Wednesday, January the 14th, with the competition building towards the final on the 18th in Rabat. Joining us once again is Prab Yumna. Thank you very much once again. And the African Cup of Nations has surely been nail-biting. Who holds the edge in these two semi-final clashes?
Honestly, I'll tell you after the semi-finals, because it's very tough, man. It's AFCON is always full of surprises. Be it the fan who was standing as one of their leaders from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who stood on for 90 minutes straight, to as good as the Senegal fans celebrating for 90 minutes continuously, or the Ghana supporters who are always in flourishing lights. So with the top four teams lining up, yes, again, World Cup regulars. So this will be a good dress rehearsal to what can happen in June when these teams are going to face the other countries from various continents in the biggest stage in the world. So as of now, looks like whoever enjoys the game more is going to end up being in the final, because it's all about fine margins and how well you handle not just the pressure but the overall philosophy that you've been carrying so far. Whoever holds the nerve, and as long as Chukwueze is not shouting at his teammates for not passing the ball and giving the assist as it went viral in a social media video, it's all good for Nigeria. But here's hoping that it all goes down to the celebration of the beautiful game in Africa.
Indeed, and how big a test will Senegal, a rising star of a team, pose for Egypt in the semis?
Yes, it's going to be a different challenge, rather, because I remember talking to you guys in the group stage of AFCON, where I'd mentioned specifically that Mali is a team that is known for sending youth teams, or has a history of having a good roster of under 20, under 17, under 23 players. And finally, the senior team gelling up with senior Premier League or League One experience from France and England. So looks like Senegal, yes, beating Mali has been a highlight so far, but how far they will go just goes to show that how resilient they are. It's going to be a battle between experience and resilience, Senegal versus Egypt.
And can Nigeria match Morocco's home advantage and, of course, current form as well?
As long as Chukwueze is not shouting at his teammates again in the team bus, it's all cool. But yes, Morocco does definitely have a home advantage, but it's going to be a Premier League versus Premier League high voltage contest, because both these teams have had good amount of high pressure experience. So yes, their country's stakes are really high, especially given that Morocco is the host nation. But Nigeria, having that experience under their belt, also pushing for the place in the World Cup. So evenly poised contest. I guess 65th minute onwards, when the muscles are actually showing their fatigue levels, is where we could see who actually holds the edge. Morocco, by the way, let me tell you, after the World Cup semi-finals, it's another semi-final for them. And so maybe they might want a redemption by themselves of what happened against France in the Al Bayt Stadium in Qatar. So here's hoping that both the teams have a good game, 65 minutes onwards, you will actually see who's about to have the edge towards the final.
And the January transfer window is gathering momentum, with several Premier League clubs actively exploring options to strengthen their squads ahead of the second half of the season. The biggest update of the week comes from Manchester United, who are still weighing up on their new manager. According to sources close to the club ownership, the race is between two former club legends, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick. While Solskjaer has had what is now considered to be one of the better terms as Manchester United manager, Carrick has only taken charge of the Red Devils on an interim basis and could be confirmed as their permanent manager for the first time in his career. Everton are weighing up a move for Arsenal defender Ben White as they look to address ongoing concerns at right back. The 28-year-old England international has emerged as a potential solution to a position that has troubled the Merseyside club this season. In Germany, Borussia Dortmund are keeping a close watch on the situation of Manchester City midfielder Oscar Bobb. The 22-year-old Norway international is still being monitored following recent changes at City, with Dortmund assessing whether an opportunity could emerge. Tottenham remain active in the market and still are interested in signing England midfielder Conor Gallagher from Atletico Madrid. However, Aston Villa are currently seen as favourites in the race for the 25-year-old, as Spurs continue to evaluate their midfield options. Villa are also exploring attacking reinforcements and have shown interest in Newcastle United for William Osula. This comes after their pursuit of Real Madrid's Spain under-21 forward Gonzalo Garcia suffered a setback, prompting the club to consider alternatives. Elsewhere, Liverpool and Chelsea are among several Premier League clubs impressed by Como centre-back Jacobo Ramon. The 21-year-old Spain under-21 international has attracted strong scouting interest with his performances in Italy, drawing attention from England's top clubs. In France, Paris are keen on securing a loan move for Bayern Munich winner Matthias Tell this month. However, Tottenham are understood to prefer the 20-year-old remain at the club, adding another layer of intrigue to the situation. Off the pitch, Tottenham sporting director Fabio Paratici is expected to depart for Serie A side Fiorentina once the January show closes, signalling a significant change behind the scenes at the North London club. Finally, Bayern Munich defender Dayot Upamecano looks set to commit his long-term future to the German champions. The 27-year-old France international has ruled out a free transfer move to Real Madrid and is expected to remain in Munich until 2031. Okay, joining us once again. What do you make of Manchester United's manager woes so far, a week into their journey with interim manager Darren Fletcher? They've been knocked out of the FA Cup and remain tight in contention for Europe next year with the likes of Chelsea, Sunderland, Brentford and Newcastle. What are your views?
Pretty simple. I would just like to ask any Manchester United supporter or any fan out there, how does it feel to be a Chelsea fan now? It's exactly what Chelsea fans go through every couple of seasons, change in manager, but at least Chelsea wins trophies with an interim manager. We did it with Tuchel, they did it with Di Matteo, with Gus Hiddink with the FA Cup in the past as well. So yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a real change maker for them when he was interim boss. I remember they had a good Champions League campaign in the long run.
In it.
But
yes.
Also at the same time,
policy is very important because it's a charity that does
apologies, we're having some audio issues there. I want to thank my guests. I'm so sorry about that, Pradyumna, for that. But thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. We move on now, and Formula One is seeing significant movement both on and off the grid as teams prepare for the next sports chapter. Chinese driver Zhou Guanyu has called the Cadillac Formula One project as a reserve driver for the team's debut season in 2026. The 26-year-old spent last season as reserve with Ferrari following 3 seasons racing for Alfa Romeo branded team between 2022 and 24. at Cadillac, Zhou will support returning race drivers Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, both set to make their comebacks in 2026, a year away from the sport. Bottas and Zhou previously raced together at Alfa Romeo, giving the American team valuable experience as it prepares for its first Formula One campaign. Cadillac have also signed a driver named Carlton Herta, who is competing in Formula 2 this season in a bid to secure enough points for the F1 Super License. Red Bull has confirmed a major leadership change, with longtime motorsport advisor Helmut Marko set to step down at the end of 2025. Okay, we're now joined by Fiza Nazir, an F1 news writer, joining us live on the programme. Thank you very much for joining us here. It's a pleasure to have you. What does Zhou Guanyu bring to Cadillac in 2026?
Thank you for having me today. I think Cadillac being the first brand new team in 2026, I think they need some drivers just like Zhou and their driver lineups like Checo and Valtteri and all of that. Because looking at Zhou, I think he brings three main important things right now, currently. That is, first thing is his stability that he has in the field. And second thing is his operational stability, consistency, and his global reach as well. So Cadillac being a new team in the industry for Formula One, from a racing perspective and a technical perspective, he understands how Formula One works, how race weekends are, how a car should work, how to give a proper, meaningful feedbacks as well, and how to give a clear, structured answers to his engineers as well, which is very essential when it comes to Formula One, because that experiences helps the team to avoid a lot of cost in a lot of ways as well. And the second thing that Zhou brings is his stability that I mentioned earlier. He is a bit more, in his earlier years in Formula One, he's a bit more calm, and he's a very methodical driver as well. And he has established himself much rather in a very closed, he has performed himself in a very great way as well. So right now that team needs stability, that he brings. That is, they need to establish a baseline rather than to chase the miracles, right? Cadillac, being a new team, they should not be chasing towards speed. They need to stabilize themselves. They need to consistent in their performances. And I think in a much greater picture, it is a much wider perspective as well, because Zhou's global appeal to Asian markets is also incredible. So likewise, Formula One is also building itself in the sport globally, in the global markets as well. So these connections help the team to establish themselves as a very long-term entrant into the sport as well. So I think Zhou, being a reserve driver, is signing up with the team, is going to be a foundation for the team as well, which helps them have that consistency, that stability, and a long-term identity in Formula One.
And what legacy does Helmut Marko leave at the team at Red Bull?
I mean, everybody knows Helmut Marko has been with the team for over 2 decades. So him leaving, the news of him leaving was something that nobody expected as well. Because he was a person who has been with the team over 2 decades, as I mentioned. So, and he is very clear. His role in Red Bull was very clear. He has completely changed how to take risks among the drivers in Formula One. He has shown how to showcase young talents and put them in a winning cars. So his main idea is, or his main strategy at that time was that if you're good enough, if you're a good driver, you should be put in a top tier cars. And if you're not, if you're not delivering enough performances, then you will not be protected. That was a straight up convention that we had, or straight up what he has always normalized. So when that statement comes, it's a very clear example that I can put forward is Max Verstappen. Because Max has been put into Red Bull's car in a very young age. And he was put into a winning car, and at that time he was reckless team leader, and he had his he has redefined a lot of things. He has redefined how teams think about talent. So Helmut Marko has left that mark among several teams in Formula One as well, and he has helped in reshaping Formula One as well. He has also had that aggressive driver development in the sport has ever seen, because He's a person who's known for controversies. He's known for being aggressive among the drivers as well. And because it's very evident, because except Max Verstappen, any other drivers that joins Red Bull has immediately dropped out within a few years, or they cannot handle the pressure. So that just shows how aggressive the system is towards Red Bull as well. But I'll not say that his legacy is just not about the successes. I would say that it is more like intensity. And his management style has been known across the paddock. Like they have to thrive among the pressure that they give, and that's why I think his feels also symbolic at the same time. But I think Red Bull moving forward, coming for the upcoming season with a lot of changes, I think Red Bull is looking forward for a much more structured and less dominating personality model as well. So I think Helmut Marko does leave a very permanent mark, but it also values brings in patience, and he valued performances over the patience and everything, and his indecisiveness over sentiment. So I think he has left that mark in Red Bull, not just in Red Bull, but just in the entire paddock of F1 as well.
Faiza Nazir, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on the programme. But unfortunately, that's all that we have time for in this episode of World of Sport. Please stay tuned on NewsX World for more international news and sports updates.